Christian Norgaard. This deal looks like it's going to go through. The Brentford director of football, Phil Giles, has said that it's more likely than not to happen now. Yeah, this is one that you are not the biggest fan of. You put that post on social media recently saying you don't think he really improves Arsenal. Fair to say it got mixed reactions, that post. Just first of all, curious to get your expanded point. Of course, he's replacing you've got Martin Zubimendi replacing Partey, and then Norgaard coming in to play this sort of Jorginho role, if you will. But you don't think he's a massive upgrade on Jorginho. Just curious to get your expanded thoughts on, why you think that's the case.
You explained it pretty well. I'm just not sure it massively improves the squad. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a fine piece of business, a smart piece of business. I can absolutely understand why Arsenal are doing it. Because he is Jorginho's replacement. He's not. People are looking at it. A lot of people anyway are looking at it and saying, they've replaced Partey with Norgaard, which obviously they haven't. They've replaced Partey with Zubimendi and they're replacing Norgaard with Jorginho. And Jorginho only started 9 Premier League games. He was very much underused last season. So I can understand why they're doing it, and it's fine. It's a perfectly adequate replacement. But I'd kind of look at it as a squad building thing again. Think the idea of each summer is going in, how do we improve the squad? How do we take the squad to a next level? And I kind of look at this deal and I just think, does this take the squad to the next level? I'm not sure it does, but maybe it doesn't have to. Maybe in this situation it is just purely replacing Jorginho, minutes, experienced guy, good player, Premier League proven, can hit the ground running, country captain, I think, or certainly Brentford captain. So there's loads of experience there. It's not a bad signing by any means. Don't get me wrong in that situation. It's not a bad sign by any means, but it's not really the route I would have looked to have gone down. I think I would have looked to have just got someone in who you look at and think that's immediately a squad raiser there. And I'm just not sure Norgaard is. I think he's adequate. I think it's fine. I think it's a smart piece of business. I think it's relatively cheap. If it helps further down the line this window in terms of bringing in the attackers and being able to spend more on the attackers, maybe that is absolutely worth it. But I just kind of look at it as an adequate space filler rather than a real sort of squad improver, if you see what I mean.
Listening, yeah, just looking back to that Jorginho signing a couple of years ago, I think maybe when the rumours first came out about that, maybe we thought the same thing. I mean, firstly, another player from Chelsea. Secondly, another player who's entering the second half of his career. But then, of course, Jorginho, like you say, didn't play or didn't start many games. But when he did, he was usually quite a dependable performer. And the fact that it seemed like Arsenal were trying to get a deal for Partey done right until the latter stages. They just couldn't get it over the line, but they moved for Norgaard very quickly when they had to sort of give up on the Partey deal. So, do they deserve commendation for just really going out there and getting a deal done for this Premier League proven player? We know that Arteta loves players who have got that experience. So do they deserve, quite a bit of praise for just going out and getting that done as soon as they could?
Yeah, I like the intent they showed in doing that. I put that in that social media post actually as well that I did. I thought that was good. They did it with Kepa as well. When Juan Garcia proved impossible, they very quickly moved on and got a deal done for Kepa, a really good deal done for Kepa as well. So they've shown good intent in the transfer market in that way. So I think the business can absolutely be praised for that, the way they've got the deals over the line. I also think the Jorginho thing is an important point because I felt kind of how I feel now about Norgaard. I felt exactly the same when Jorginho came in. I was. It didn't excite me. I didn't look at it as a particularly good piece of business, and now I look back on it as an excellent piece of business. In fact, I think he was underused at Arsenal. He was a really good sign. If Norgard can come in and do exactly the same, then I will happily sit here in a couple of years' time and sort of eat humble pie and think it was a really good, smart piece of business by Arsenal.